Hi, this is Mr. B. We are getting ready for Algebra 1. Welcome to my flipped math class. I'd like to explain to you how this is all going to work. You'll have a website you can go to, and from there you'll be able to select a lesson that is the next lesson on your list. You'll be doing this individually. And there you'll have a delightful talk from me about algebra, and it'll be listed by lesson. There'll be some practice stuff. There'll be me writing on a board for you, just some stuff to elucidate what we're talking about. You'll also have an assignment. From that assignment, you'll have a chance to check your work to see how you did with it. You'll have opportunities in class to ask questions. You will be able to discuss it with me, discuss it with other students. When you're ready, once you feel like you've mastered that lesson, you'll be asked to take a short quiz, 4 questions. You'll need to show mastery of the topic, and by that I mean show mastery. You're going to need to get an 80% or better on the quiz in order to advance to the next lesson. There are 5 questions. If you get it right, you get it right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. There's no partial credit. But this should reflect what you just practiced and what you're ready to do. Now, when you're doing this, there is a textbook. I will be showing you that book along the way, and there'll be assigned reading as well. You really are expected to, yes, do the reading. You need to know what it says. You'll need to know the language of mathematics. There are specific things that are mentioned, and it's a technical language. It means a very specific thing. And with that information, now you can know what's going on with it. If you don't know what it means specific to mathematics, you can't participate. You'll be unable to really figure out just what's being asked of you if you don't know what's up with that. So you want to read the book, make sure you know the vocabulary, at the same time be able to do the practical math, do the quizzes, do the applications of math, which is the real world problems. Now, often what's asked in this class is, when are we ever going to use this? Well, I've got a little video for you I want to show you. It was produced by an education student named Hannah. She did it for part of her degree in education. I have her permission to use this video as an introduction to the class. So without further ado, here's Hannah's video on when we're going to use mathematics.
Counting sheep when you're trying to sleep, being fair when there's something to share, being neat when you're folding a sheet. That's mathematics. When a ball bounces off of a wall, when you cook from a recipe book, when you know how much money you owe. That's mathematics. How much gold can you hold in an elephant's ear? When it's noon on the moon, then what time is it here? If you could count for a year, would you get to infinity or somewhere in that vicinity? When you choose how much postage to use, when you know what's the chance it will snow, when you bet and you end up in debt. Oh, try as you may, you just can't get away from mathematics. Andrew Wiles gently smiles, does his thing, and voila, QED, we agree, and we all shout hurrah, as he confirms what Fermat jotted down in that margin, which could have used some enlarging. Tap your feet, keep in time to a beat of a song, while you're singing along, harmonize with the rest of the guys. Yes, try as you May, you just can't get away from mathematics.
Okay, that video from Hannah was great. I really like how she shows so many examples of how math enters into our daily lives and impacts what we do every day. Even if we don't realize that we're using algebra, in fact, we are to solve those problems that she showed. What I want to do now is to go through what is flip mastery learning and how is it going to work. You're going to start with this: watch the videos and take notes. I'll be handing out a packet to you initially that will help you with this, but it's going to show you how you can go into the video, go through the lectures in there. You can do that in class, you can do that outside of the classroom, you could do it at home, but it'll need to be done. You're going to take notes about what you're doing. In your packet, you're going to have a place to take notes. Once you've done that video, then you're going to go to this next step where we're going to do a practice and check. The practice and check is going to be a set of practice problems. You're going to go through those. If you need help with it, put a question up on the board for your questions, or in class there may be a mini lecture if there are enough people that are interested, or ask somebody else, but figure out how to do it. Check it when you're done. Make sure you actually know what you're doing, and then once you've done that, you're going to move on to the next part of the flip mastery, which is applications. This is another way of saying problems in context, or word problems. These are places where in the real world we solve math problems, and you're going to go through a practice, then you need to go through some applications of problems that you might need this particular type of practice to deal with in your problem set. Once you've gone through the applications, we'll take a look at that. Then you'll take your completed packet, your notes, your practice and your check, your application work, you'll present them to me. And once I've gone through that to see that you've done everything, at that point then you get a chance to do a mastery check. This is where those 5 questions and 80% come to play. So your mastery check occurs here. If you've done the mastery check, you get an 80% or better, you've passed. Once you've passed, you start the cycle again. You go to the next lesson, go through this practice and check, application, and mastery check. If, on the other hand, you have not passed, you didn't get an 80% or better, you'll come back to me for more practice. Once you've completed the practice, checked it, you're going to go back up here. Now if you have questions, or if we identify some areas of concern, we'll work through those here in the more practice part. Get you ready to go, and you do your mastery check, your 5 questions, pass it, watch the video, take notes, move on to the next one. This will go on throughout a chapter. For each lesson, there'll be this cycle of mastery learning. Once you've completed the cycle, at the end of that, you're going to then take a chapter test. In order to continue on after the chapter test, you need a 70% or better. With that 70% or better, you can move on to the next chapter. If you get less than 70%, we're back into the identifying which lesson you had problems with, more practice, a mastery check for that lesson or lessons if that's the case. We'll go through that cycle for each one of those. Then you'll retake the test, and with that second test, hopefully we've got enough and you're able to move on to the next chapter and begin the flip mastery learning. So that's the flip mastery class. Your lectures are done online. Your practice and questions and answers are done in class or out of class. You can do it with me, you can have a classmate, you can talk to somebody outside of the classroom, you can go back to the book. A lot of places to go for you to get the answers you need in order to succeed with this flip mastery learning. I hope this was informative. I hope it answers your questions. And now we're going to get ready and we're going to do the beginning of Chapter 1, the chapter opener, and Lesson 1-1. Here we go.